Hello and welcome, I'm your Geek Eric, and today we're going to be talking about what I've done with Manjaro in the last week to 2 weeks, well, since the last video, and it's been really fun, so I'll get right into it. Well, the first thing that happened since the last video is I had Pop! OS running on my laptop, and I wanted to try the new Pop! OS 2020, and I'm not sure if it's a bug with that distribution or if it's just a problem with the hardware. I have one of those laptops where it has both NVIDIA and Intel graphics, and that usually causes some issues. But this issue was pretty bad. So basically, every it was pretty random, but every minute or so, the screen would go black. Then it would pop up with the login screen, and it just kept on happening. And I didn't really have time to figure it out. I had a lot of work to do for my day job. For the rest of that day, I just worked on my desktop. All my files are synced across, so there was no downtime really. But that night, I was like, okay, Manjaro's working good for me. I have had a couple of issues with Unity on KDE on Manjaro, and I believe it's just a package that's not there, but I'm not sure which packages it is. Again, it's been really busy the last couple of months. Instead of figuring that out right now, I'll try to, but instead of figuring it out right now, I decided to install XFC on my laptop. Manjaro 2020 XFCE. Sorry. I've only played with that desktop environment a couple of times. One of the things that I liked about it is it was really lightweight. Well, that's pretty much the best part. The last time I played with it, I actually didn't have any problems. It might be the first desktop environment that actually used Linux desktop environment for a long period of time. I had an old laptop that I installed Puppy Linux on, and I didn't know it at the time, but I believe it was either running XFCE or one of the other, small desktop environments. There was a couple of different lightweight Linux distributions that I tried around. Anyway, so I like it. The theme's pretty nice, actually. I was expecting it to be really old looking, but the team at Manjaro and XFCE and whoever's working on that have done a really good job of polishing it. The stability's been great, but the biggest reason that I went with Manjaro, instead of just downgrading Pop! OS versions, because I knew the older version worked for me, the main reason was Manjaro still easily supports Hibernate. Now, I know you can do that on other distributions, but I really like my desktop environment to, install it, get out of my way. Let me do my work. The fact that I think a couple of years ago, Ubuntu-based distributions switched over to using swap files, which for a lot of users with small SSDs was a great choice. For me, I really love being able to, use Hibernate, where basically, if I understand it right, it pretty much fully powers down the laptop. The memory is taken from the RAM and stored on a partition on the hard drive, which I have an NVMe SSD in here, so that transfer rate is very fast, so it doesn't take too long. And then even the power to the RAM is stopped, if I understand that correctly. If not, please correct me in the comments, and I'll put a little notification on the video correcting that. Anyways, that's very important. I used a MacBook for a couple of weeks at work. Although there's lots of things that I didn't like that Linux made easy, the best thing about it for me, that I could close the computer, and when I opened it back up, my battery life hadn't really changed much, and all my work was still where I last left it. So that was a pretty no compromise feature once I got a taste of that. And so I love how on, I believe, any Manjaro distribution, in the installation, it gives you the option, hey, do you want a swap partition? If so, I'm not sure if it's just in like the one-click area that lets you pick the size, but if not, I mean, they all let you partition how you want it. Anyway, so the laptop, I'm loving it. it's sticking with XFCE. The stability's been rock solid. I cannot express that enough. In other distributions and past times that I've tried Manjaro, KDE, sorry, Kden Live has crashed on me a good bit. But since trying this latest round of updates from both the OS and the application, it's been rock solid. That's been really awesome. That's been really freaking awesome. So yeah, I'm sticking with it. The desktop might change. It might not. I'm not sure. I tend to change my desktop a lot. The laptop is the one that's more, I do all my work on it. I take it traveling. I can't really be swapping out distributions very often on it just because of, well, that's how I make my money. And if I swap something out and it doesn't work and then I have a day of downtime, that's bad. So the laptop is the one that I try to really get right. On the desktop, it might change every couple of months. And I like doing that. Now, what am I going to do with this software? One of the pieces of software that I tested first on both platforms here, Godot. I keep on wanting to say Godot, but Godot. And I made that video a couple weeks ago where I was looking at different games created using the engine. And I just got really inspired about that and a lot of really encouraging comments. And I was like, hey, I'll give it another shot. So I made sure it worked on both the laptop and the desktop, and tested both the mono version and the Python version. Both worked great. So here's the kicker. I have used Godot before in past times that I've tried to use it. It's been fairly buggy. Now this was a year or so ago, and kind of the whole reason I did that video was to see where the engine is now. And in the last week, I followed through a couple of tutorials / the guide on Godot's website, and the editor worked great. It didn't crash on me, and it was really fun, which is honestly the most important part to me. A lot of times with Unity, it just gets kind of bogged down in this weird mess of dependencies, and I don't know. It just seems like Godot's way of using signals, other big object-oriented approaches, just really helps keep every component separate. And the more the components are independent, the less likely if one component messes up, the whole game crashes. And that's really awesome to me, because right now we're in kind of bug fixing mode in the for my day job. If we would have written it, now you can write a lot of Unity stuff that way, but they're not really pushing you to. With Godot, from every tutorial on their website, a lot of the people that are making awesome videos on YouTube about it, they all really push that same, make sure everything inside the component, the scene, works independently. And then you put a whole bunch of these scenes / prefabs, come from Unity, we call them prefabs, into a main scene, and then connect all the stuff using signals and collision. And one thing that I really liked once I found it, it took me a while to find it, although I probably didn't search the right term, but Godot handles singletons that should be in every scene really, really well. And that's pretty awesome. It has it right in the project settings, and also the input manager is really nice. Okay, sorry. I really shouldn't turn this video into a Godot video. I need to wrap it up. If you like this ramble, please like. I'm sorry. If you want to stick around with me, don't forget to subscribe and mash that bell icon. There will be Godot videos coming soon. Me and my wife. Hopefully she'll be in the next video. Maybe. I'll try to convince her. Me and her are going to be trying to make a couple of really small prototype like games just to test the waters with Godot as far as for us, because we want to start making our own games. And Godot might be the right choice. But we don't want to make that decision just based off of, a couple hour tutorials that I followed and then tweaked. All of that's a really good signal, no pun intended, to if we should go with it, we need to do some further explorations. So, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.